I've conducted like 30 plus Customer of the Week interviews. This is my favorite one so far.
I've aimed to just try and communicate how I talk and keep it shorter.
If you're able to communicate that succinctly under 300 characters in a connection request, you are going to be successful.
I don't know how that tool works, but it is a great tool to have in there to help you.
What are some of the mistakes you guys made when you first started doing cold outreach?
I didn't want to mislead people. However, in the first instance, I did do that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to SalesRobot Customer of the Week, a new show where we interview the best SalesRobot customers and go deep into their process with hot tips around targeting, messaging, and personalization so that you can take away some tips and implement in your cold outreach starting tomorrow. Today, we have Joanna and Sunny from Imagine Executive. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you. Good to
Thank
be
you very
here.
much. Good to be here.
Awesome. So let's get right into it. What does your business do and how do you make money?
That's a great question. So, ImagineX Executive, in simple terms, we help great people find great opportunities in terms of recruitment, job opportunities, and workforce related opportunities. And we help businesses stop hiring the wrong people. We run a recruitment agency that specializes in leadership and executive search.
Awesome. So I'll not bury the lead. Let's talk about the campaign that got you here. I can see on my screen that it's got about almost a 31% acceptance rate, which is really high, and almost a 43% response rate, which is way out of average, right? Like average is 15 to 20%. Do you remember what this campaign was about?
Yes, absolutely. Sonny just referred to Sophia, which is the skills framework of the information age and how that makes a difference in recruiting, actually understanding how good someone is at something. So not the number of years, but how good they are. So they're the kinds of assessments that are easily intertwined with the recruitment process. So what we wanted to do was focus on that, but from a candidate perspective. And that's what it was about. And that's what we were doing, was supporting people to get a better understanding of what they know and how good they are so they can better present themselves, and they know, and it was technology people. So they know what they need to do to get to the next step, the next role, whatever's happening, given everything is changing so quickly.
Yeah, awesome. So I'll share my screen and then you can talk me through the campaign. All right. So you've got a lot of successful campaigns, and we were just talking about the most recent one. This is another contender for a Customer of the Week campaign. But let's talk about this one. I think this one you ran about 9 months ago. Like I said, you've got about a 31% acceptance rate, almost a 43% reply rate. So who were you reaching out to in this campaign?
Okay, so the first thing is we were reaching out to a very specific location. So we just made it very niche. That was one of the keys in terms of location. And we can do a number, but in different locations, but this was the location. So we focused on Brisbane. From the type of person we were looking for, we used LinkedIn Sales Navigator and used a search that focused on technical individuals that were within AI development, software development, a complete range along those. There might be a list of that. And there was a lot around cybersecurity as well, and the security. So we really just nailed it down to that area, because what we had found through talking to people outside of this is that understanding there's a lot of competition in this area. So it's better for them to actually understand where they're at. And so, yeah, there's millions of skills and assessments out there, right? You know, you can get assessed on anything, anytime, anywhere. This is just a really straightforward one. So that was what the campaign was about, offering something to them. Yes, it was free, and we wanted to be really careful with that because, you know, a lot of people don't want free things these days because there's a catch. So we're just really clear about what we were offering, what they'd get out of it. Hence the higher connection rate and response rate and reply rate, and then people that actually did the assessment.
Awesome. So let's look at the actual copy. So you're basically reaching out and offering the free skills assessment. So talk me through this. What was your thought process writing this kind of copy?
Okay. Now it was about being really upfront about it is something that isn't going to cost them anything. And so the no strings, that was the key thing, and being confidential, because this means that they need to trust us upfront and that we're making them aware that we realize that them sharing whether they're good or not good at something, that the skills, and we will obviously see the assessments, that it's confidential. So I guess we make that really clear. Also that we're going to offer them insights. We're not asking for anything. We do not want anything from them. So I guess that made it easier. Now, the purpose of this campaign is to offer something. And honestly, we didn't want anything from any of these individuals, but making connections and contacts and having relationships started by building trust, by sharing with them something that is actually useful for them and that they can continue to use without us. So there is no strings attached to this at all. So that's what we focused on. Now, as you can see there, just share your email. I tried that a few different ways. This is the current one, but back then, and there was a point where I had changed it to where I had put my email in there for them to reach out to me. So that was the thing I changed, and I wasn't getting as quick a feedback. So I changed it to sharing the email and sending them the link. And often people would just reply with their email and say thanks.
Right. No, I actually love this CTA because if you look at it from a psychology perspective, you're getting them to do a little bit of work for you before you get them to do a lot more work for you, which is the skills assessment, right? So just the act of them sharing their email to you is kind of getting them deeper into your marketing funnel, right? Because then they're much more likely to actually take the skills assessment and take you seriously, which is always hard to do in cold outreach because you're a stranger, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
also what it does for us, any interaction we have with the market out there is going to be helpful for us as knowledge that we can then take to our clients and, tell them this is what we're seeing in the market. Even if people don't engage with us, that's worth something, that's knowing what the market is doing. So that's what the internal talent acquisition teams tell us, that's really helpful because they're so busy doing their recruitment that they don't have time to actually understand what the market is doing most of the time. So therefore we can, be that partner for them and tell them this is what's going on. This is what we're seeing.
Yeah. No, awesome. So this is the first message. If they don't, once they connect, this is what they get. So talk me through this one.
Just looking closer. Okay, so this was a nice straight thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so once again, that was confirming that we'd got their email address and letting them know that they would be receiving a report as well. So if they hadn't said their email address, it was a reminder to send it to us, because obviously this is when we haven't heard back from them the second in the sequence. And then I've written a line in there that seemed to go well, which is please feel free to check that I'm real.
Love it.
And ask any questions and why we're doing this, put their name in to personalize it, and put my mobile number there. Now, to be honest with you, I wasn't expecting people to call me, although I would have been happy if they did. But I wanted to make sure it wasn't so focused, or maybe AI, or, I am a real human being. I'm happy to talk anytime. And the question often is this AI or not these days?
Yeah.
So that was just giving them an answer to a question they may have already been asking.
Right. No, I really like this because, it's almost like a proactive captcha. Like you're solving to prove that you're human. The captcha you get on websites, you're just doing that proactively on a LinkedIn message because there's so much AI these days out there.
Yes.
No, this is great. This is my favorite, hack so far. I've conducted like 30 plus customer of the week interviews. This is my favorite one so far because this is such a hidden objection that you're addressing without them even asking. I think that's why you're getting such a good response rate.
Yes. It's honesty and transparency, isn't it? We all talk about it, but we don't always see it.
It's also anticipating why they aren't replying and then addressing it proactively. So it's almost, sort of you're reading their mind and thinking, is this person even real? And you're answering, yes, I am, right? Because that's probably what they're asking in their heads. But you're just showing a little bit more empathy and doing their work for them. So this is good. Okay. Step 2 is done. Step 3, a day later. What are we doing here?
Okay, so I am keeping it reasonably close together. And the reason for that is it is about, I don't want it to be something that happens, in the next week and the week after. This is a short, sharp campaign to see if people are interested. And if they are, we will get them on board and help them with the assessment. And if not, you'll see we finished up the campaign and we can come back to that. So it's not supposed to be a long campaign that we wait for people. So it's basically just saying, are they on board? With the digital skills assessment, we tell them a bit more about that, ask for the email address again so we can send the invitation, but remind them about the insights and, with their current role, how it might help them with that, or if they're wanting to make a change. So we try to give them another reason for why they would look at doing this, because it is for their benefit.
Yeah. Right. No, it's great. And then finally, just a quick follow-up.
Yes. And it's basically not pushing too hard. And we have had a lot of people come back and connect after this because we haven't pushed as well. So you can't see that. But because we've just left it nice and easy and straightforward, if you want to go ahead, let me know. And people have done that, but I don't have the stats on that.
Yeah.
But that has been how that's worked out.
That's great. So let's get deeper into your journey now. What are some of the mistakes you guys made when you first started doing cold outreach?
Definitely. Used to use and it depends on your market niche, I guess, and what you're going for, of course. In relation to this, someone had shared with us, just to send an empty connection request, first of all, because people do just accept them. And, they often do. And I think because we're recruiters, people often do because they think there may be a role or an opportunity. That's generally why. So we do get good acceptance. However, I didn't want to mislead people. However, in the first instance, I did do that, got lots of connections. Then when it went to, about the Sophia did the skills assessment, they weren't interested. So I needed to tweak that to be a lot clearer about what it was. So it was just about narrowing it down to be really clear as to why I'm getting in touch with them, because no one wants all that fluff. Well, I don't. So I try to write how I like things. This is what it is. This is why. Yeah. So that had to change because, you listen to so much information out there, don't you guys? Yeah. Say this, say that, try this, try that. And I've aimed to just try and communicate how I talk and keep it shorter than how I'm talking now. Yeah.
No, I really like it because a lot of times people feel like they're getting bait and switched. You just send a blank connection request and then you're like, oh, why don't you take a skills assessment? Like, why didn't you say it in the first
Yes,
place?
exactly.
So it's kind of showing them respect as well, and respecting their time, being direct, and just getting to the point.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're not promising them anything either, over-promising.
Yeah, and we know that not everybody lives on LinkedIn like we do. Some people do, some people don't, and we just don't know who we're reaching out to, whether they check their LinkedIn daily or maybe weekly or never. So it's really, as you were saying, just respectful of people's time and just being very clear, this is what we have. And some people want it, some others don't, and that's their decision to make. So we are not, imposing any decisions here. It's really just an offer, and you can take it or you leave it.
Perfect. That brings me to my final question then. What are some of the things you're excited about trying to improve your cold outreach process?
Okay. So in relation to, we've got another campaign that we're doing that the focus, that first message, so the biggest changes around that first message being clear about why we are wanting to connect. Not fluffy, so one of them, so it's a different one to this campaign, but it focuses on, it says, I've got a range of contacts in these areas. I think it could be a good opportunity for us to connect and helpful for both of us in the future. Are you open to being in my network? It's something short, but it does say that potentially I will want some. I am a recruiter. It's clear that I'm a recruitment agency. But it's not pushing it, and the acceptance rate has been quite high so far. So I guess the point, what we're starting to learn is just be upfront in that first email, not sell, not ask them to recruit for them or work for them or anything like that, but just what we are. And we've got good networks. So do you. Do you want to? And it's yes or no, and then it follows on from there. So I think learning that is the most important thing. We can get more connections by sending an empty connection request. But that means our reply and response after that isn't as high. So we decided not to do that anymore.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense because ultimately what you're offering is something of value without being salesy. What you're offering is an entry into your obviously very good network. And if you're able to communicate that succinctly under 300 characters in a connection request, you are going to be successful. And I can see in that campaign that you are quite successful, and it's got a 51.3% acceptance rate. So it shows up in the numbers as well.
Which is really good. And that has actually generated some good leads at the moment. So that is really good. But I guess it's also love the SalesRobot, and I do rely on it. You know how it tells you when you write a message, the chances of response? I use that a lot. I bear that in mind. I think sometimes I put some in and they come at 90% anyway. So that's really cool. But no, sometimes, I've done something completely off whatever, but I can really use that to refine it. So I don't know how that tool works. personally, but it is a great tool to have in there to help you. Because otherwise I might write way too long, or, it's a fantastic part of SalesRobot. Really highly recommend it just from that.
Yeah. By the way, guys, I didn't ask Joe to do this advertisement, so this
Sorry.
was this was all organic. So we'll mention that in the show notes. Awesome, awesome, guys. So that is all the time we had today. Thank you so much for making the time. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I
Yeah,
really
you
love
too.
how you guys look at
Pleasure.
cold outreach. And wish you all the best for all your future campaigns.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the
Lovely to meet you.
opportunity.
Okay, before I let you go, if people want to find out more about you online, where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. On LinkedIn, connect with us on LinkedIn. ImagineX Executive is our company LinkedIn page as well. Our website, imagineexecutive.com. And that's probably the easiest way. Or maybe contact you, Saurav, and you'll be happy to make the introduction, I'm sure.
Awesome, ladies. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good day.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Bye-bye.